The air in the breached throne room of the star yacht Emperor's Folly was thick with the scent of ozone and the coppery tang of my own blood. It wasn't my yacht, but it was my grave. A temporary one, at least. They were coming through the gash in the hull, their forms silhouetted against the swirling nebulae outside, the Cathar. They were exactly as terrifying as the vidscreens portrayed. 7 feet of lean, predatory muscle wrapped in obsidian chitin. 4 arms, the upper pair ending in hands with 3-fingered claws, the lower pair tapering into 18-inch blades of razor-sharp, bioorganic bone. Their faces were a collection of clicking mandibles and compound eyes that glittered with cold, predatory intelligence. Leading them was the Matriarch. Larger, her chitin adorned with swirls of iridescent crimson, her bone blades serrated. She moved with a fluid, lethal grace, her soldiers a perfect, silent phalanx behind her. They'd carved through the ship's security detail like they were packaged meat. I was the last one left, just a humble ship's mechanic with a busted plasma wrench and a bad attitude. I tossed the wrench aside. It clattered uselessly against the deck. The Cathar warriors let out a series of low, guttural clicks. My translator implant, still miraculously working, interpreted it as a sound of contemptuous amusement. The Matriarch's voice was a silken rasp in my head, a direct psychic broadcast. It sheds its tool. The soft-shelled prey knows it is cornered. It prepares for the rending. The rending. The Cathar's ritualistic execution. Fun. One of her soldiers stepped forward, its bone blades held low. It was giving me the honor of a warrior's death, which I appreciated, but I wasn't in the mood to be honorable. I was in the mood to be difficult. I raised my hands, empty and open. The warrior paused. Another series of confused clicks rippled through the phalanx. The Matriarch's broadcast sharpened. The prey offers no challenge. It has no claws, no fangs, no shell. A creature of pure weakness. End its pathetic existence. The warrior charged. It was a blur of black chitin and gleaming bone. The blade on its right arm slashed horizontally, aiming to cleave me in two. I'd seen it cut through bulkhead doors. I didn't try to block it. I dropped, letting the blade whistle over my head. As the warrior's momentum carried it past me, I exploded upwards. I didn't punch its armored chest. That would be like punching a brick wall. My right hand shot out, palm open, and slammed into the side of its knee joint. The Cathar were built for forward-facing, slashing combat. Lateral stress was not in their design portfolio. There was a wet, sickening crack that echoed in the silence of the room. The warrior shrieked, a high-pitched, metallic sound of agony, and collapsed. Its leg bent at an angle chitin was never meant to hold. It tried to push itself up, bringing its other blade arm around. I brought my foot down hard on the elbow joint of that arm. Another crunch. The blade arm went limp. The absolute, profound silence from the remaining Cathar was more terrifying than their threats. They had all stopped dead in their tracks. Their glittering compound eyes were fixed not on their writhing, wounded comrade, but on my hands. My soft, fleshy, 5-fingered hands. The Matriarch took a half-step back. It was a tiny, almost imperceptible movement, but in a predator of her caliber, it was the equivalent of a full-blown retreat. Her psychic voice, when it came, was no longer arrogant. It was tight, laced with a new emotion. It took my implant a moment to define it, horrified disbelief. It fought unclawed. 2 more warriors, likely angered by my sacrilege, broke formation and charged from either side. They were smarter, coming at me in a pincer. I met them in the middle. I ducked under the blade of the one on the left, grabbed its arm just above the blade itself, and used its own forward momentum to spin and hurl it directly into its companion. The collision was a symphony of cracking chitin. But I wasn't done. While they were entangled, I moved in. I grabbed the head of the first one, my fingers finding the softer tissue around its neck joints, and twisted. The other one swiped at me, but its movements were clumsy, unbalanced. I sidestepped, my hand chopping down on the back of its unarmored knee. It buckled, and as it fell, I drove my elbow into the sensitive cluster of spiracles on its thorax. It convulsed and then lay still. I stood up, breathing heavily, and turned to face the rest of them. My knuckles were bloody, my muscles screamed, but I was alive. And they were all frozen. The soldiers, the Matriarch, all of them. They stared at me, their mandibles slack. The Matriarch's broadcast was a frantic, terrified whisper now, not just to me but to her entire cohort. Did you see? It does not use its body as a weapon. It turns our bodies into the weapon. It used the warrior Thane's own mass to shatter its leg. It used the hunter pair's own charge to break them against each other. A slow, creeping dread began to dawn in her tone as the fundamental, terrifying truth settled in. To the Cathar, combat was an extension of self. Their blades were a part of them, grown from their own bodies. It was honorable. It was natural. They were born with their weapons. A Cathar without its blades was a cripple, a worthless outcast. The concept of fighting without your innate tools was not just alien. It was a perversion. It was impossible. They saw me as a creature with no natural weapons. No claws, no fangs, no armor. By their logic, I should be the weakest thing in the galaxy. But they had just watched me dismantle 3 of their elite warriors not by overpowering them, but by understanding leverage, momentum, and anatomy. I hadn't attacked their weapons. I had attacked the beings wielding them. I had turned their greatest strengths, their size, their speed, their blades, into catastrophic weaknesses. The Matriarch finally understood. She wasn't looking at an unarmed creature. She was looking at a creature to whom everything was a weapon. A creature that didn't need to be born with a blade, because it could turn the universe itself into one. Her psychic voice was a faint, horrified hiss. This is no soft-shelled prey. This is a thing that can break reality with its bare hands. A creature that is unclawed is a creature with no limits. I took a step forward. The entire phalanx flinched. On that day, in the ruined throne room of a dead emperor's ship, the mighty Cathar Empire learned a new word for fear. It was human. I took another step. The sound of my worn work boots on the metal deck was the only noise in the universe. The Cathar Matriarch, a being of living blades and imperial fury, did not raise a weapon. Instead, she did something impossible. Slowly, deliberately, she lowered her magnificent, crimson-crested head, exposing the soft, unarmored joint where her neck met her thorax. Her 4 bone blades angled downwards, their razor tips scraping harmlessly against the floor. It was not the posture of a warrior preparing to strike. It was the posture of a supplicant before a terrifying, unknowable god. Her psychic voice filled my mind, no longer a weapon, but a whisper of pure, unadulterated awe. We came for metal and water. We found a species that can break bone with empty hands. Our histories will mark this day. The day we met the unclawed. The day we learned what true predators are. Without another word, she began to back away, her movements slow, precise, never turning her back on me. Her soldiers followed her lead, dragging their wounded, their multifaceted eyes locked on my soft, bloody, 5-fingered hands. As they retreated through the gash in the hull and vanished into the void, I finally let out the breath I didn't know I'd been holding. I wasn't a soldier. I wasn't a hero. I was just a mechanic, and I had a hell of a hull breach to patch.